So we're live. Welcome to the crypto project.
The inaugural.
The first and hopefully not the last.
We'll see how this one goes.
So I thought maybe to begin we would kind of just tell why we're here, how Hans and Leonard got to this point, and yeah, kind of tell a little bit of the story. Obviously not all of it, but why don't you go ahead and jump in?
Yeah. So I mean, for me personally, I would consider myself just a curious person in general. Anything that gets trending, anything starts getting a lot of traction, gets a lot of news on like cool topics, gaming, crypto, collectibles, whatever it is, gets me curious. So obviously crypto's been around for a while. So I've always had like a fringe interest in crypto, but growing up, being in college, didn't really have any money. It was always like, oh, if I had money, I would. If Bitcoin gets back down to 3,000, I'm buying, and it just never really materialized in anything. And then fast forward to really this year, working in a relatively stable job, start to have a little bit of extra money that I want to start investing in. And so for me, crypto was pretty easily the first place I started to look into. And it kind of all got triggered. We were on a trip together, Leonard. You were talking all about crypto. I was already interested in it. I was already kind of looking into it. And I'm pretty sure everyone else on the trip was just like, oh my gosh, will you guys just shut up about crypto? Like no one cares. It's just you two are talking about it. And so basically went from that trip, went home, got an account, went through the terrible process of having to get authenticated, had to send like the hostage video to Binance, like reading a script to be able to unlock my account and put money in it. And so that was really kind of April of this year. Basically started just throwing money in there, went absolutely full throttle from the beginning, and then the market just absolutely plummeted, and I've kind of just hung with it, and I've just absolutely come to love the space. I love all the content around it. I love the projects. I'm super bullish on it's the future in my opinion, 100%. So, and then it's started to branch out into all these different areas, whether it's DeFi, NFTs, gaming, all these different things. There's always something really new and interesting going on in the space, and just gives you another opportunity to learn about something and hopefully make a little bit of money along the way.
What was the hook? Like what hooked you?
Yeah, I mean, I think what hooks just about, I would say 95 to 99% of people is the opportunity to make money. Is what pulls you in to get interested about the space in general. And then I think from there, you go two paths. One, you lose all your money and you say, whoa, that was the stupidest thing ever, and you leave forever. Two, you start making money and okay, great. But then you either view it as a way to make money or you really fall in love with it. And for me, I'm seeing so many cool projects, so many cool, innovative things. Like we'll get here in a little bit later, but like there's a project on Solana like DeFi Land. It's bringing DeFi with pay to earn video games.
Mm-hmm.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard of. And I just think that that's easily some of the most innovative stuff is going on in this space right now. And for me, that's really interesting.
That's super cool. I have DeFi Land on my list today as well. So that's fun. For me, it was I'm an itinerant speaker, so I travel, gather people together, and speak to them. March 2020, that suddenly became a reality that wasn't happening anymore. So I had a little bit of money, not a lot of money, like $5,000, a little bit, that I said, this is all we have to live on for who knows how long. I thought it was going to be 3 months at the most. Back in March 2020, I had COVID at the time. I just come out of San Francisco, speaking for a couple of weeks out there, and so I was sick, and the market tanked, and the stock market. And my dad is a legacy trader, way back, and so I've always been in the stock market my whole life. I understand it, and I started looking at things that had just dumped. and I knew intuitively that they had to come back. And so I did kind of maybe 3-4 days of research, found kind of the low caps because I didn't have a lot of money, and I bought maybe 6-7 of them, and probably overall did maybe 400 or 500% on that money in a couple months. And so now I had some money, and I'm like, going back to 2013, 12, 13, in that area, Bitcoin had come across my lap, and I was like, this is amazing. But I didn't have the time. I was at the time running a farm and a whole bunch of other things, but time wasn't available. So I knew intuitively I wanted to be part of that, but I didn't have the time to really understand it. So as I've invested in the stock market, I'm going, now's the time to look at this crypto thing. And I just dove as deep as one can dive in, and quickly realized that the gains that I was making in the stock market, even though it had dumped massively and was coming back, that the gains I could make in crypto were 10 plus X that. And
Yeah.
so I was just so excited about, I'm like this is the last frontier, and nobody knows about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I started talking about, and really what I've just fallen in love. I can't not consume kind of content, and really my hat's off to all those content creators that are out there that we both have kind of almost daily, if not more, just consumed content to understand the space, to understand kind of all the iterations of this space. But I've fallen in love with it, and really what has carried my family through this pandemic, because I couldn't work. I gathered people. About 50% of that is international. And so international travel entirely cut off. Gathering people in any real way has been cut off. And so I found myself with nothing, a few projects to work on, but primarily I've lived and breathed crypto, and I have a lot to say, apparently.
Well, so you've been in it for long is a relative term. I find it so funny when I'm watching videos or like streams and I've been in crypto forever since 2015, and it's like 6 years is like you're a total vet if you've been in it that long. But it's been in it longer than I have. How has your interest kind of changed over time? Because I feel like the space evolves so fast, at least just from my experience being in it for half a year. It's
the first things I bought, and again, this just happened to be because of the people I ran into on the internet. And so the first thing I bought was $500 of XRP for, I don't know, 18 cents a coin, and Ethereum. I bought $500 worth of Ethereum, and that was for it was under 200, maybe $180, which today I would love to have that chance again. And those were my first. I look back, and those were the first two things I bought. And what happened is, so you enter into the space and you have no idea how to navigate it. You don't know how you trade and move money and wallets and all this. Like it feels like you're just blasting money off into space, and is it ever going to come back, and how does this work, and really what I've kind of narrowed it down to, in part, projects I love and believe in, but maybe even greater than that, projects that I think I can make money in. And so I do have an affinity to some projects, and I imagine as we go that'll come out. But more than that, I really see this as a way to find financial freedom for myself, and I'm sure, like you, I have a whole list of friends that call me on a regular basis and say, what am I supposed to do now?
Right.
and uh, and so that's part of why I think we're here, where I'm the old guy and you're the young handsome one, and so
Young is a real relative term when we're talking about crypto. I was watching just like 13-year-olds in here who are just killing it, like on like Binance Smart Chain, just investing in all sorts of wild stuff, making fortunes. It's humbling.
this is the Wild West, and I love innovation. I love technology. I love and I'm not risk averse. I don't mind taking risk, and I guess again that's part of why we're here.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like I remember when Elon going on Saturday Night Live. I had opened up a little Doge trade, and I'm just sitting there sweating like the 1 minute chart, just absolutely just sweating bullets. And then I was like, I'm gonna let it ride. And so then, like all night, I had an alarm set, like every, I don't know, it was an hour or something, trying to get a little sleep for work the next day, but just trying to check it. And I eventually just closed it at a very small loss, but just the amount of degeneracy that I ended up in, I'm just sitting here with a bunch of Doge. That makes no sense. But
yeah, I day traded for a while, maybe 6 months, and the problem with that is you have to babysit it 24/7, and sometimes that goes for days. And I think I can make money at it, but I also have other things that I have to do. And so for me, day trading just wasn't the way to. It's a huge. You're all in when you're in,
right.
and
Yeah.
and you're looking at the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 15 minute, the hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 24 hour. I mean, you're just like consuming it. But you really, when you're in that, you know intuitively where Bitcoin and Ethereum, until you get wrecked, where it's going. At least you feel like you do. You're like, I know what the next minute's going to be like, and the next minute, and the next minute. But it woos you in such a seductive way almost, but in the end it just tends to, for me anyway, I didn't get wrecked, but I did get wrecked a couple times. I always had a good stop loss, so I didn't lose the farm ever, but it's too much of a commitment for me given the other things that I have to do in my life. But
yeah and see,
at some point here.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I guess the other thing I wanted to touch on, we've been talking about this for, I don't know, seems like a while now, starting this channel up. I think it'd be interesting to just talk a little bit about, like, where do you envision this going? What are the goals for this channel? What do you kind of want to accomplish? Why do we exist?
Those are the deep questions. Honestly, in part, and this is maybe selfishly, but I talk almost every day with somebody about crypto, maybe for sure every day, but I have people regularly calling me. And if you put together all the money that I have invested through other people, I mean, it's a lot of money. And I think I want to help people find financial freedom. I think this is an amazing way. I think it can facilitate all kinds of future projects for individuals. But selfishly, I think if we can create content, I can just point them here and say, you know what, we don't need to have this 2-hour conversation. It's all on the channel. You can go look at it there. And so I think I know I've helped some people make a lot of money in just a year and a half. And some of them are just because they know me and they have known me for a long time and just inherently trust me and say, okay, what do I do? I've got $10,000. What do I do? And then it's 20,000, then it's 30,000, and they're going, holy crap, like, how is this happening? And you go, well, yeah, but, and then there's corrections and where'd all my money go? And all that stuff are the things I think I want to see everybody get rich. That's I think, and maybe not rich. I don't know what that means, but financial freedom, not to be tied down to something you don't want to be doing, particularly if you're in a 9 to 5 that you don't love. I think in this space you can find some freedom.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, that's kind of, for me, my why is a little bit twofold. One, I definitely, this is going to be fun. This is not going to be some like really boring, droning on and on about just technicals and things like that. This is going to be a really fun way to learn and educate and get some benefit out of it for both of us and eventually the community that starts to form here. So for me, I'm really looking forward to just having someone else that I can talk crypto with on a regular basis. And two, I think that financial freedom, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. For me, my 9 to 5, I'm gonna probably like dox myself. My boss is going to see this tomorrow and maybe I won't have a job. But in a job that I'm really unsatisfied with, finding ways to unlock that freedom, whether it be time or money or ways to just pursue the things that I'm really passionate about. And the awesome thing is in a lot of ways, crypto intersects with those things. In a lot of ways, crypto is one of those things. But really unlocking knowledge that can be used to help us all as a community achieve our goals is one thing that's really important to me. And it's really important how we do it too. Transparency, honesty, community first, no matter what. Those are the things that I really think I know we've talked about and we agree on, and I think we'll really hopefully build something pretty cool. So,
yeah, I think we've thrown around a lot of fun ideas, and obviously we have a great group of content providers that are out there, and I think we can do things that are a little bit different. I think we come from a couple generations, so I think we're going to bring just kind of a different insight into. I mean, people my age, they're afraid of anything on the computer, and then you go to the next generation. My dad, he's terrified to put something on his computer. like you have your money on your phone, like somebody can just steal that. I'm like, no, they can't. He's
right.
convinced they can, but I think we can help educate from the next generation, the 70s, 80s, and above, all the way down to the kids that are just dipping their toe in this. My grandson, I gave him, I paid him off to score goals, and the other day he was playing soccer. He needs that extra. He can dribble the whole other team, and I said, I'll give you $5 every goal you score, and he scored 4 goals that day, and I was like, dang, I gotta maybe rethink this. But we're starting a crypto account for him, or at least we're talking about it and saying, what if we set all your goal money aside, and he has his eyes set on a Lamborghini someday, so that may be how he gets it.
There we go. All right.
So you want to jump into Solana? We talked about Solana today, so maybe we should.
Let's do it.
Now, again, for anyone that does end up watching this, we're not professionals.
Far from it. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt. Do your own research. I think that's the one thing I've learned the more I spend time here is just the more different opinions you can get, the more you can kind of parse through your own ability to, do I believe this? Do I not? Is this something I want to follow or not? Don't ever just blindly follow what someone tells you.
Absolutely not. Well, let's just quickly look at the market cap, kind of where we're at today. Let's maybe throw that over there and kind of look at, if you want to kind of jump in, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at this before, so I kind of was like thinking, like, what are the big movers and maybe like the top 25? in terms of market cap, and then like in the 25 to 50 range, and then the 50 to 100 range. You know this, probably everyone knows this, but I mean, just the amount of gains that are to be had, obviously much smaller on a percentage basis, the higher the market cap goes. In the top 25, I mean, Algorand, Solana, and FTX are just mooning. They're absolutely going insane. Solana, we were prepping. We were originally supposed to do this last night, and I was prepping, and Solana was like 155, and I woke up this morning, it was like 215. Yeah. It just, every time it just absolutely runs, you think it's done, and then it just keeps going. So Solana is one of the big movers. FTX is an interesting one. I would love to get your thoughts on it if you have any. It's up like 25% on the weekly. I think FTX is one that I'm buying the FTX token, similar to like BNB. I think that the amount of traction they're gaining in terms of like sponsorships, so like they're the official, I think, crypto partner of like the MLB. There's the FTX arena. Sam is like the GOAT. There's no denying in terms of the crypto space, just the amount of talent and just track record he's shown. Yeah. And to me, I think one thing I have come to realize pretty quickly is the exchange options are so much better outside of the US. Yeah. And so Coinbase is really the king right now in the US, but it's not great. I don't love it. It's fine. It gets the job done, but it has a fraction of the amount of coins listed. And I think FTX is one that's making a lot of the right moves, starting to gain traction. I feel like they do a really nice job of listening to their users in the community. I constantly see them on Twitter, just, hey, what is it that we need to do better to really gain users?
Yeah, they're super interactive, and their visibility is like beyond none. And they have this incredible team that is just crushing it. And the arena, what's his name? Mark Cuban is involved. I think even isn't who won the quarterback that won the title last year?
Oh no, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, isn't he involved in FTX as well?
Yeah, they just came out with a commercial. So I think NFL kicks off tonight,
right?
With Bucks Cowboys. So I will bet you whatever you want that there's an FTX commercial coming tonight.
100%.
And so I think they're doing a lot of good things. I mean, they have a market cap right now of 9.3 billion. You look at like Binance Coin, 65 billion. I just think there's tons of room for the FTX token, FTT, to move up. So that's one that's already moved a bunch, but I think long-term, super bullish on FTX just as a company. I think the token will be used obviously for the lower fees. So I think there's definitely a really strong use case there in the top 25.
Number 25 is VeChain. What do you think about VeChain? It's market cap 7.7 billion. Yeah. But it's trading at 12 cents right now. I think it got up to like 28 cents back in March, April. So
yeah, VeChain, I own a lot of that relative to my general portfolio. I have a pretty significant chunk in it. I love VeChain. It just really hasn't. VeChain and Link just haven't really got that traction. It took a long time. VeChain took off a little bit more because it was at like 15 cents and it kind of pumped to 30 cents. But neither of them have really recovered fully, not even sniffed the all-time highs that they were at kind of in that, May timeframe. So I think VeChain is definitely one in the top 25 that I'm looking at. And you also, when you own it, you also get VTHO as part of like a little side bonus for holding it. So that's a little bit of extra kind of value you're getting from holding the token. I am super bullish on it. I think it's definitely undervalued relative to where it's at, but for whatever reason, it's just not.
It's a great steal right today. I think it's a great place to get in. It's a great entry point at 12 cents, given its all-time high a few months ago of, I think it was at 28. to 30 range.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about, again, we've never talked about this, but VeChain hasn't been listed on Coinbase. Is that they've got good listings around a good number of places. I mean, we can even look at it, but what do you think about that, or why of all the things that could be listed on?
Yeah, I honestly I have no idea. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm out of my depth in terms of the reasoning. There's always, I think one reason might be is it's not like the sexy coin. I feel like there was a while back when I think Coinbase added, I think it was SafeMoon, and they picked SafeMoon over like any laundry list of really good projects. Not to throw a ton of shade at SafeMoon, but I think that there's something to be said for just attention. I just, for whatever reason, it hasn't had it, unless you're going to tell me there's a little bit of conspiracy theory out there, maybe.
I have no idea. I'm just floating it, seeing if you bite. But look at all the exchanges. I mean, it's on 100 exchanges.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I have no idea. Maybe
So
we'll have to do a little digging into that.
It's on at least 100 exchanges. It's on, at least according to this, 136 exchanges. But the big dog is not giving it props. I mean, they've got partnerships with so many big companies. It would seem like a natural, and a lot of them are American companies. Obviously, VeChain comes out of China, but it's interesting anyway. Something to keep an eye on.
So looking back at these rankings, so that was the top 25, a few that grabbed my eye. I don't know if you have any other ones, or we can jump into kind of the 25-50 range.
Well, I think one thing we were going to talk about was eventually Solana. I think it's significant that it flipped XRP today. It's 10 billion, 12 billion behind Tether, and another 2 billion behind Binance Coin. So if it keeps marching as it will, it's going to be number 4 in the next week if it keeps going as it's been. I mean,
I think by the end of September it'll flip Cardano. I think that's where we end up by the end of September is my guess. I think Cardano goes live with smart contracts on the 12th, I believe it is.
Yep.
I'm guessing that'll be kind of the buy the rumor, sell the news. I don't think that's going to be crazy bullish. I don't expect a huge pump once that happens. I think most people will I think we'll see a dip in Cardano then. I think with the traction Solana's getting,
but it could be buy the news. Like
it could be. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I hope I am. I hope so too. I want everything to pump. I definitely don't want. I hold Cardano, so I'm not going to be complaining if it keeps going up. But I think just the one thing with Solana, and we can get into this when we really jump deep into Solana, is there's a lot of just things that are actually happening. A lot of progress being made. A lot of projects being kicked off there. It's got the traction. It's got the buzz. Whereas Cardano, I feel like it's got a ton of buzz. Like I think they did a really great job marketing, getting like influencers involved. I mean, I saw so many people early on, like in the April, May range, influencers, make sure you buy ADA, like all this stuff.
Even beginning of the year, November, December, January 2021.
Yeah, everyone was shilling it. And I think Solana seems to be just gaining a little bit more traction and actually getting things done and moving.
Yeah, 100%. So anything jump out here in the 25-50 range?
Yeah, I mean, I think the elephant in the room would be Phantom. To me, right around 50. I think it's probably 48, 47, or 40 now.
Yeah, it's 91.63% on 7 day.
That's what happens when my notes for the show are 1 day old. Everything's already moved like an additional 100 million, a few hundred million in terms of market cap. But what do you think's going on there?
The first things I bought a year and not a half ago, but maybe a year and 3 months ago, is when I got into Phantom, and I love it as a project, and I love what's happening right now because it's just been sitting for months and months, and now it's getting some real traction. I mean, you can just see over the last 7 days, even the last month, it's just gone parabolic.
Yep. Yeah, I think this would be an interesting one to do a deeper dive in sometime here in the future. But so, I mean, that was really in terms of the winners. I mean, there's a bunch that stuff's always pumping. I'm not super familiar with, like, I know Harmony is one that a lot of people really like. That's kind of down there in market cap a little bit more, but I'm not as familiar with the projects in like the 50 to the 100 range, at least the ones that are currently really going. So
I mean, there's Tesos, there's EOS. I mean, those Cosmos. These were big movers the last bull run, and again, I wasn't part of it, but just in looking at things, you start to recognize they had a place. Like EOS was the kind of the Solana of the last bull run in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the graph is in there. I mean, that Elron is up 14% on the week. It's starting to move a little bit.
It's up 17% today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think a little bit of these are going to be inflated a little bit from the recent dip. Just when the flash crash, when Bitcoin dumped the other day, I think some of these you're seeing a little bit of that bounce back.
Yeah, HBAR, which is number 50, it had a pretty significant dip in the last week in that dump. But I mean, if you look over the last year, it had a real significant pump in that April, March area, and then it went down into the tank. But it's really been moving over the last couple months here.
Mm-hmm. Like last month and a half. I feel like stuff's just really started to really get after it.
Yeah, it's one that I don't know the whole proof of stake model that they use, but I do know that some people that I trust in this space, and part of what you find out in this space, at least what I found out, there are those who are shilling coins, and you find out they get paid to do that, and then you never hear about them again. But they pump them like, you've got to get this, you've got to get in this project, it's the best project, going to change the world. And they do that for about 3 days, a week even, and then you never hear about it again. And I think part of what we at least feel committed to is one, sincerity, being sincere when we don't really know what's going on, because you can't know everything and you don't know what you don't know. So we're not going to know everything for sure. And this is such a rapidly changing space. I mean, you just look at like the SEC, who's trying to get their grips on what is crypto, and even the governments of the world, and it's so rapidly changing and innovating. It's beautiful, and part of what's happening is the SEC and the governments of the earth are trying to kind of slow things down, but you can't stop innovation. You gotta let it run and ride.
Yeah, good luck. That not happening. It's not going to slow down anytime soon. That's for sure.
So that's top 50. Want to start looking at Solana a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. And full confession, My computer's been having trouble as of late. I've got a new one ordered, but that's out quite a bit. So we're doing the best we can here.
Using a little bit of that phantom money, eh? Putting it to good use.
I would like to, but I want it to go up higher. So here's kind of DeFi Llama, and if you don't know of this site, this is a great site to, if you're looking at different chains and kind of their total value locked in and kind of a way to kind of look at some of these different projects, and you can go over to, like, you can click on Solana, and we're going to look at this today, but you can just look into, so it's got total value locked of 8.5 billion, which if you compare that to Ethereum, who's kind of the big dog in this space right now, they're looking at 125 billion locked ETH right now. So we're what is that? 15x of. Yeah, let's get over back to Solana. So Solana has, you can start to look at the projects that they have currently working, and if you just run down this list, I mean, without going into Solana, but the Solana ecosystem is just exploding, and there's a few major points there. One is gas fees. If particularly related to NFTs and gaming, the gas fees in Ethereum are just crushing people, and I think that's a big part of why people are starting to run over to Solana and its projects. But just run down this 7-day change of Saber, which is, again, we were talking about FTX, and Sam from FTX, he actually runs Saber. 198% up for the week. Sunny, which is a yield aggregator, 828% for the week. Like,
yeah, 130% in the last day. From when I was looking at it, it says 40% there, but when I was looking at like noon yesterday, it was.
Yeah, yesterday was just cranking. It was 200% up yesterday. Soul Farm, Tulip, 81%. Serum, 80%. Mango Markets, and I don't know much about that, but it's 81% on the week. Solend, 138%. Acumen, 63%. I mean, just the entire ecosystem has gone parabolic. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think a big part of what this is just, it's a little bit late to make a ton of money on Solana itself. Sold a coin. You can make money long term. I think you can still make a lot of money on it. But crypto, people are looking to make a quick buck. And a lot of people want to take their $100, $500, $1,000 and turn that into a 10x, a 20x, a 50x. And so I think what we're seeing is Solana is almost kind of peaked out, and it's like, okay, if you're a whale or if you have an insane amount of money, you can still make a lot of money on Solana just trading Sol. But now for some of the smaller traders, it's like, okay, we're looking for those smaller gems. And I think that's what you're starting to see, and it's really just starting to take off on these. So I was looking at another great tool to use for Solana specifically is solanaproject.com. Okay. It basically lists all the different projects that are going on the Solana ecosystem, and you can kind of filter through there. It's got like a little sentence maybe of what it is, website links, all those good things. So the project breakdown on Solana Project was like 86 projects, so 191 total projects. 86 of those were in DeFi. So the vast majority of the projects, like almost half, is sitting in DeFi. So you can kind of see it down here on the left. So it's really like DeFi, then you got NFT at 28, applications at 27, and tooling wallet, and then you got some miscellaneous ones. So what I did is I really just started jumping into the DeFi ones And so went right to DeFi Llama right from here. But there's a lot of cool ones in here. Some of these are projects that have coins. Some of them aren't, just general projects like Wormhole. To my knowledge, I don't think you can like invest in it like from a token standpoint. But that's the bridge from Ethereum to Solana. Obviously very important with the traction ETH has and the user base they have. So I jumped down kind of into the DeFi projects, and I started to really look into them, just try and figure out which ones were undervalued, and see where, hey, I want to make a bag too. Which ones could we maybe invest in that seem like they might be good opportunities? So there's two different kind of ratios, and these are, I know it's available on CoinGecko. I think it's available on CoinMarketCap as well. But two ratios, this is just like a little bit of alpha to look at for maybe some undervalued DeFi projects. Two ratios to look at is like your market cap to total value locked ratio, and then your fully diluted value to your total value lock ratio. And so basically you want both of those numbers to be under 1. The closer to 0 they are, that means the more undervalued the project is. And so I went to DeFi Llama and basically you can sort it by the market cap to total value locked ratio. And you can find all the ones that are under 1. And that makes your work a lot easier to find the ones that have your fully diluted value to total value locked ratio closer to 0 as well. And so 3 projects kind of really, to me, jumped off the page in terms of possible undervalued. This was yesterday. So some of these have already pumped. But so like on the far right, you see the little ratio. You can sort by that if you click on it. And so it'll show you like Sunny, Saber, and Soul Farm all have really low ones. Mercurial was another one. Radium. So a lot of these on Solana have the market cap to TVL rating below 1. But when you start looking at the total value locked to fully diluted value, so basically you take how many coins there are in existence for the project, multiply it by its price today, that'll get you your fully diluted value. A bunch of them are way above 1, like 3,000, 150. So like they're all over the board, but really there's only one that had under 1 for both of them, and it was Soul Farm. So I think Soul Farm, it's already pumped a bunch the last day, but I'm definitely, at full disclosure, I haven't bought any Soul Farm yet. I'm going to be buying some Soul Farm tonight. It's on the shopping list to get done. The other ones that I thought really kind of popped out to me was Sunny. So Sunny had a super low, you can kind of see it right on the screen right now. It's the lowest market cap to total value locked ratio at 0.01. And it had the fully diluted value to total value locked ratio was like 1.1. So right around 1, which when I was comparing it to all the other ones was much better. And then the last one was Saber. So I'm going to be buying some Soul Farm, some Saber, and some Sunny tonight. I'm not going to be going crazy, but I want to get a little bit of that piece of that Solana pie. I want a little of that upside. I think these are all small coins. We're talking 150 million market cap or less for these guys, at least last time I looked. So there's still a ton of room to grow. I think for me, those were the 3 projects. I didn't know maybe what ones you've been eyeballing. I know you've been looking to it.
Well, Sunny and Saber were 2 on my list, and Serum. Are you buying these on Radium?
Yep. Yeah. So that's the other one is I think Ray and Serum.
Radium, maybe about a month ago, I bought Radium.
Yeah. I own nothing in the Solana ecosystem that's like really outside of Sol. So for me, I definitely am going to be starting to just kind of pepper the Solana ecosystem and just start picking up smaller bags of some of this stuff. It's still early. I think Radium has already pumped a bunch, but to me, it seems like it's really going to be the decentralized exchange for Solana. I think,
and it's got room to grow with the way that the Solana ecosystem is growing, and with people shifting out of Ethereum back into, and we haven't really talked about NFTs and gaming and play to earn plays. That's really what's starting to explode with gas fees so high on Ethereum. Just normal guys who are trading NFTs, it's costing you $200 to $400 to pick up a cheap NFT just in gas fees, and then if you're going to sell it, you're going to pay that again. So you're into it for what, three to up to maybe $1,000, and you've not done anything yet. And some of them are appreciating massively, so there is room for that. But when you can do the same thing on Solana and it costs you pennies on the dollar, why would you just keep getting hammered? And like we had this dip a couple days ago, that affects the whole market. So NFTs get affected, and gaming. Once there's utilization and people actually playing the game, like the Axies of the world, the market is going to less and less affect them as they get a following and they get people who are playing and in the hundreds and millions and hundreds of millions. Then it's going to start to shift their ecosystem, and it's not going to be as affected by market cap of total crypto.
Yeah. I think Solana is going to start to just explode in the NFT space. It's already starting to catch on a little bit. There's not near the amount of projects in Solana that there is on ETH. Like if you look at OpenSea, I mean, it's just a never-ending stream of NFTs that you can get your hands on.
Right.
Where Solana, it's not there yet. It doesn't have that mass adoption. It's not mainstream yet, but I firmly believe that there's so much room to grow in the NFT space on Solana because of the gas fees. Volume is going to be driven by most of the people who make these things are not going to be creating these projects that are ever going to really take off. These are artists and creators that want to create an NFT project, and maybe it'll flop. But you need that volume to really drive users. And once you start to get those users, then it's going to just start getting traction and more traction, and it's going to steamroll into something that's going to be much bigger. So I think Solana makes so much more sense than ETH, and being on OpenSea. It's just a really painful process to pay so much money in fees, especially for kind of normies. Like I don't have 10 grand to put on an NFT right now at this stage of my life. Get there at some point once some of these bags grow, but until then, that's not a reality for me. And so for me, I'm looking at the $100 to $500 NFT range. And when I have to pay a big percentage of that in gas, it makes it really unattractive.
Yeah, you don't want to keep throwing money into the Ethereum space.
Yeah,
as gas fees, it just gets sucked up. It's not as fun.
Yeah. One other comment I wanted to throw out there on Radium. That was one I thought it's kind of like a pre-rec. I was looking at the other DEX coins, so like Uniswap, 1inch, all of those, and I started looking at kind of comparing in the top 10 of DEXs the amount of volume they do relative to their market cap.
Yep.
And to try and see maybe what exchanges might be undervalued there. And so Uniswap does by far and away the most volume for sure. And is the most expensive in terms of market cap. But kind of, this was yesterday, once again, caveat at that, because Radium's kind of pumped a bit. But at the time, Radium was the number 2 most undervalued decentralized exchange when you compare like the amount of volume they're doing trading wise versus the market cap of the coin. What do you think number 1 was?
I have no idea. Tell me.
1 inch.
Really?
Yeah. So 1 inch does like almost $1 billion in terms of volume for 24 hours. And they had a market cap of like 530 million. Whereas, like, to put it into perspective, like Pancake Swap does 1.1 billion. And has a market cap of 4.5 billion.
Wow.
So it was tremendously undervalued. It's pumped a little bit, but it's still by far and away, I think, the most undervalued exchange.
But it's one thing to be undervalued, but it's also another thing to be adopted and used. So it can be undervalued and underutilized, and therefore will never be worth anything. So
yeah, I mean, I think the volume though that it was showing, I think it's the number 4 decentralized exchange, and really number 3 if you combine Uniswap 2 and 3, version 2 and 3.
yeah.
So it's still a top end exchange from a volume perspective. It's coin. I've always, to be fair, I've been a little bit skeptical on some of these coins for the DEXs. Like Uni as a coin, like I never really got it. It doesn't really do anything. It just makes you like it's a governance token.
Right.
But maybe that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, I mean, I bought into it early on and kind of dollar cost averaged into it over time, and I mean, I'm really positive in it, but I'm kind of been looking at it recently, going, could I be doing something better with this money? Because I have a good sized bag of it now, and throw it in Sunny a week ago, I'd be way happier.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it just is. It's not really used for anything, I guess was my point. I think people associate Uniswap the token with Uniswap the exchange and just like, oh, I'm investing in that. And it as far as I know, I could be off. It's just a governance token. So you have like voting rights as a member,
right,
relative to how much Uni you hold compared to the pool. And like down the road, they've talked about like some sort of fee for Uniswap, like getting distributed back to Uni holders as kind of like an investment piece. But it's not active. But anyways.
yeah, one thing that's important though, I think we talk about some of these large cap coins like Solana. So there's people that I would say, I have a friend and he gives me chunks of money every now and then, and I have access to his exchanges, so I do the trading for him, but I don't put him into small caps. I don't put him in. I would never put him into a Sunny. I would never. He's not looking for 50x. He wouldn't be mad at that, but at the same time, he's been a legacy trader. If you can get 7 to 10%, they're super happy. And obviously, with crypto, if you just put it in Ethereum and Bitcoin, you're crushing that, and you spread it out a little bit more than that, and you can do exponentially better than that. With some of these coins, the potential for return increases, but also the risk exponentially increases. And so that's one of the things where I think it's one, we're not giving financial advice, but I know the risk inherency that I have, and I don't mind taking risk with my money. There's a big long story behind that, but I'm okay with that. But I do also know when particularly if I'm investing somebody else's money or giving somebody else some advice, I really have to get to know their heart and their head and how comfortable are they with the risk. Because what my dad used to say, and my dad was a trader his whole life, and he managed a hedge fund essentially. And what he would say is you have to be comfortable with 100% of this money going away before you put it in. And that's just one of the things he kind of drilled into me, and of course you never believe that's going to happen. My first investment was in a company called Suntech. I was a young entrepreneur. I had made some money. I put $2,000 in Suntech, which was basically ethanol gasoline from corn. My dad said it had the potential to go through the roof, and he explained it to me, and we just come out of gas crisis, and I'm like, this is the future. I put $2,000 into it when I was, I think, 12, 13 years old. I got paid out on that on a class action suit. It was about, I don't know, it was maybe 5 years ago. I was 50 then. So 40 years of investment. I think I got 13 cents back.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's a great, I was working with my siblings on getting them into crypto. And the first question I asked them is like, what's your goals with this? What is it you want out? Do you want 10%? Are you looking for 30? Are you looking to just make money, but like have a lot lower risk? It's never zero, especially in crypto. It's a much more volatile market. And knowing what your goal is incredibly important. And I think that drives a lot of the decisions you have. So for me, I'm more of an overall kind of guy. So for me, I'm putting very small amount of money in these things. Like we're talking fractions of a % of my overall portfolio. These are just small little shots of getting little investments in here that hopefully they take off and they can turn into something that really ramps up into something that I can use to invest further and really grow the portfolio. But I definitely would be very hesitant putting significant amounts in these very small cap alts that you're not comfortable losing. I think the reality of it is that most of these coins or projects are going to fail long term. They're going to go through life cycles where they're going to be low, they're going to be high. There's going to be an opportunity to make money, but you need to be well acquainted with the risk that's inherent in it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we originally thought we would try to shoot for 15 minutes, and we're coming up on an hour right now.
Yeah. Hey, you know, when we get rolling, it's fun. We'll get better. I did want to touch on. We've hit on it a few times. I know we're both super bullish on it, but games. When you're looking into Solana, did you stumble across anything game relevant?
Let me see. I think the one thing, and this I just saw today, so I don't know a lot about it, and you mentioned it earlier, is DeFi land. And maybe if you know something about it, because I just saw a little bit about it and I read a little bit about it, but I don't know it, but I loved what I read.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of a deep dive. I'm by no means an expert. I think it seems so cool. They described it as basically like Farmville meets crypto DeFi, essentially. And so it's a video game. It's pay to earn. You can play and you'll make money doing it. And it brings like a Farmville mechanic to it. And so like you'll have corn, but your corn is actually Solana. Right. And maybe your soybeans are ETH and your cows are Bitcoin. I'm making this up, but that's the kind of the concept. And it has like, you can sell this and you can get NFTs that you can use to like get boosts, all sorts of stuff. So it is super cool. Definitely in the early stages. So it was one of the hackathon winners from the Solana Summer event that they did. Yeah. So I think I was on Twitter. It looks like a few of their developers had COVID, pretty serious cases. So hoping they recover quickly. You can speak to that one. So they're kind of pushing it back, but they're going to be launching like their testnet and their devnet soon. It looked like it's still to come. It's not like a working project or anything yet, but it's looking like by maybe the end of the year they're targeting, or like Q1 in 22 is when they're really hoping to get live. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one. Definitely on the NFT side is going to be a really interesting kind of play into that, there's probably some opportunity there. Three other games, I guess I will say I saw. One is Star Atlas. Really cool, awesome website. I would highly encourage anyone to go check out their website. I don't believe they've shown any gameplay yet. So for me personally, I'm not going to be investing in a game that I don't see some sort of gameplay, whether it's test gameplay or beta or whatever it might be. But awesome concept. It's kind of like this big vast universe, and you can today actually they dropped there's a ship sale today. You can like buy your own ship. There's different rarities. You can sell it. There's a marketplace. So right now there's like a functioning NFT marketplace already in existence. The game isn't launched yet, but anyways, that one was really interesting to me. I would definitely encourage you guys to check that out. Keep an eye on that. Two other ones, Open Era is a game that kind of has been announced. It was hard to find details on like launch dates or anything like that. I couldn't find any gameplay video, but it was kind of slated as like a MMO RPG, kind of like RuneScape. So people who play games, it's terrible graphics, but it's got like a cult following. So that was cool. And then the last one was Aurory, AURORY. And that one it's currently an NFT project that's up right now on Solana Art. And it basically takes your NFTs and you can like fight with them. And so you buy the NFT and then it's now kind of like, think of like the horse racing NFTs where you get the horse and then you can race it for stuff, kind of similar concept, but for fighting. So pretty cool stuff. Definitely interesting space for sure.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, going forward, we really want to kind of dive into some of these, the horse racing. I mean, you can breed your horses, you can win races, and people are making like real money, like $60,000 a week in horse racing and breeding horses.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and there's so much that I'm excited about where we get to go and some of the things we get to share in the coming days, weeks, months, years. I guess part of what I want to do is just invite you as you come along to join the ride. And part of what I've done in my whole career is build communities. And what I believe we can do here is build a community. Again, we're not the sharpest people in the entire world, but we're sincere, and I don't know Hans as well as I know myself, but I believe we're both kind of those people like you get a hold of something and you just keep going and going and going until you get to the end of it. What we want to do is get to the end of these projects and be able to tell you this is some place that it might be worth investigating further and going further yourself. Obviously, we're not going to give you financial advice, but we're going to point you in places that we can say, with having done due diligence, you can really start pushing towards this. In addition, I think as a community, we can start to help one another. We can start to filter out it and really doggedly start to push the edges of, because it's impossible to search everything. But as a group, I think we can begin to do the research, begin to dig into some of these projects and really see some fruit come from them. Freedom, ultimately.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I'm excited for the community that I am confident is going to eventually come. I think there's going to be a lot of fun times to be had. There's going to be a lot of benefits there. I hope we can all kind of unlock that financial freedom for ourselves as an entirety. So
I think I'll end with just this one little Miami mayor he was at this digital mining conference, and really he's inviting miners to come to Miami, saying, come to Miami. Miami wants to be this place of innovation. It is. I love at least I love his attitude. I don't know him. I don't know enough about him that I would say I love everything he stands for. But in as much as he stands for crypto, I love him. Just read this during Thursday's Bitmain's digital mining conference. Miami Mayor Francis Suarez concluded his speech by challenging the audience to go out there and elect the next president of the United States to be a pro-Bitcoin president.
Let's go.
Isn't that nuts? Like, a strong advocate of adoption innovation, Mayor Suarez has used Bitcoin to alter the public perception of Miami and give it the aura of something like a nascent Silicon Valley. During his speech, Suarez talked about working for years to integrate Bitcoin into Miami's way of life. The city of Miami has been dubbed by many as the Bitcoin capital of the world, he says. I mean, I love the way, and I'll just read this next line and we can maybe comment on it. Suarez's goal is to make Miami the most innovative city in America. As his speech pointed out, governments can at times help facilitate such innovation, but in the case of Bitcoin and disruptive technologies, which are hard or impossible to control, governments too often try to obstruct innovation. And we see this with some of the litigation against XRP and now pointing towards Coinbase and maybe Uniswap and so, like, we in the United States, we love innovation, and this should be a hotbed of innovation, and guys like Francis Suarez of Miami, he's saying, man, we want innovation. We want the innovators to stay here. We want them to come here. We want to make it easy for them to be here, and we want to make it a platform for innovators to come together, for creatives to come together and create and innovate and change the way that we live our lives. I mean, in part, that's why we're here in crypto. Both of us believe strongly that cryptocurrency is the future. This is where the whole earth is headed. And just to have somebody like, it makes me want to move to Miami. I actually went to school at University of Miami. I've lived in Miami. I got in a lot of trouble in Miami. And
yeah, I mean, they had the crypto conference there earlier this year.
Yeah.
Miami, I can see why it could be considered. I don't know if it's true, but the Bitcoin capital of the world or the crypto capital of the world. Miami has a poll that it seems a big portion of the crypto community is just drawn there. So I'm all for it. I totally agree. I think the U.S. needs to get in. If they don't embrace this fully, we're gonna have a mass exodus of just talent that's going to go somewhere else. Crypto is not stopping if the U.S. doesn't get on board. So,
right, and we don't want to drive innovation out of our nation.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I think a lot of what this Francis is saying there, Mr. Suarez, is really, it's driven by money is a big part of it.
Sure.
Crypto brings so much wealth, generational wealth that just pops up out of nowhere. And that wealth can come from the U.S., from people. I mean, when you sell, you're selling to someone who's buying. It can come from anywhere in the world. And those are dollars that these cities and states and countries want. That helps prop up their economy in the long run. And so for him to just kind of have that foresight and to just see like, hey, I'm going to embrace this wholeheartedly. These are tax dollars that I have a chance to get a piece of. It's smart. I totally agree with him.
Yeah, they're minting their own coin out there, and I mean it's I forgot what it's called. I think it's called I don't remember what it's called.
Miami is?
Yeah, they're minting their own coin.
Yeah, that's cool. I always feel like I wish they would not create their own. They would just hop on board and support the scene.
Well, actually, it's very innovative what they're doing. It's called Mia, and what they're doing is I think it's like 30% of it comes out as fees, but it goes to build parks, fix the roads. I mean, it goes back into the city. And so when you buy these coins, of course they can appreciate, but a percentage of it goes right into the city budget to help the homeless. I mean, it's just
That's
so
cool.
really smart and forthinking, very innovative.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Let's move to Miami.
We made it through one whole session here.
Yeah, we'll start doing this on the beach in Miami once we we'll
Move
get a
there.
little condo, a little looking out at the ocean. It'll be nice.
Play some golf.
Oh, let's go.
Well, I guess let's wrap it for today. Please jump on board, subscribe, like, comment. We'd love to hear from you. Anything that you have in your heart that you're thinking maybe you would love for us to look into, we're all about it. We're looking forward to hearing from you. We're looking forward to beginning to build this community. But here we are, day one. Love it.
Awesome.
All right.
Take care, guys.
All right. We'll see you